So, my dear friends, we are in the month of November, almost the middle of November, and it's a beautiful month. We have had so many days of holidays, also our All Souls Day, All Saints Day, and now we arrive at the 32nd Sunday of the year. The beautiful message of today is something small but something great. We have heard of what's called the widow's mite. It's an expression to say it's a small contribution, a small donation. We call it widow's mite. And in fact, this particular word expression comes from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 12, verse 38 to 44. It speaks about a widow. In fact, Jesus wants to give a lesson to the Pharisees and the scribes who try to show off, who try to say big prayers, long prayers, and they are hypocrites. And so Jesus wants to tell them that you have been not living a good life. You are almost devouring the widows, their belongings, or everything that comes to them as if it is your own. And then this chance meeting, or rather seeing a widow in the synagogue, gives Jesus this expression to see what and how this widow contributes to the Lord. There is perhaps that what's called the treasury box or the treasury pot, and every one of the people who come there, they are very anxious to see that everyone sees them as how much they be putting, perhaps notes or big coins or something. And then Jesus notices this particular woman, a widow, who puts 2 little coins. That's all. And Jesus tells his disciples that she has put more than anybody else that has put into the box. Perhaps the disciples might have been surprised as to say what kind of maths Jesus speaks of, because she has put just 2 small coins, but they have put so much, and so much of money that they have put into the box. But Jesus said the difference is they have put what was extra for them, what was more for them, but she has put what was necessary for her. The 2 coins or the 2 perhaps the pennies that were there perhaps would have bought a piece of bread for her, but then she didn't mind anything else and puts everything into that. And so Jesus admires her to say that she has put everything. She has put her whole life as itself in there, and everything all that she had to live upon, she puts it there. What's the message for us? The message is very clear, that God appreciates the small gestures of our life. The small things that we consider as insignificant, but for Jesus, they are very great. In fact, the first reading also, the book of Kings also speaks about the prophet who is hungry, and he also meets this type of a widow and tells her, give me some water, give me some baked bread as such, and she grumbles. Maybe may not be grumbling, but she says, where do I keep it from? I don't have it myself. I have just a little oil and a small piece of bread. And the prophet tells her, do that. Give it to me, baked as it were. And when she does it, it is her ever-flowing sort of source of food and drink for her. And so for Jesus, for God, small is beautiful, small is great. Secondly, Jesus abhors what we call the pretense and hypocrisy. There are many among us perhaps we don't have, but we are so shy, we are so conscious that we would like to say that I do have, that I am capable, that I will do it. Jesus says, be honest, be transparent, be authentic. That's the quality that Jesus admires. Thirdly, Jesus seems to notice that what is important is not the quantity, but the quality. We always think of quantity. We always think of great numbers. We always think of great efforts. It's not. He also serves who just stands, meaning to say that you don't have to pretend to be working, to be so active. And what Jesus wants is quality, not the quantity. And that is why he tells of the woman that she has put everything, because she has put everything that was needed for her, while the others, they have put what is extra for them. And finally, we have to remember that God is generous. God is always charitable. He doesn't count the measure. He gives us in fullness. In John chapter 10 verse 10, it is mentioned that God gives us life, and life in abundance. Life in abundance. So that's the way Jesus works. That He takes the little thing of ours, those 5 loaves and 2 fishes. He feeds 5,000 people. So that is the type of measure of those who trust in God. God multiplies their efforts. God increases their generosity is multiplied so that everything benefits from them. So let us, my dear brothers and sisters, take home this particular incident of Jesus' life, of the widow's mite, which is not just a mite, M-I-T-E, but it is M-I-G-H-T. It's a widow's great power, because Jesus multiplies our humility, our simplicity, our nothingness into great things. I now speak about, the important event or perhaps day of this month is the 14th of November. It's called Children's Day. And the Children's Day is always a special day. I don't know whether we could call it the Elders' Day also, the Adults' Day also, because we are in some way, in some form, in some nature, we are also like children. Perhaps we have grown up, but the childlike attitude of ours can never be forgotten. So many of us go back to our childhood days, those little games that we had, the little joys that we had, and the little values that we received. Why does God appreciate children? First and foremost, the children are simple. They are not complicated. They don't know what is a big man's world, how much money, they don't know how to count it, but they are so humble and simple. Secondly, the children are guileless. You can't teach them how to cheat just for a few minutes, a few seconds, and then the truth comes out, because they don't know how to tell lies. Unless they are grown up and learn to live with lies, they are guileless. Thirdly, they are innocent. They are innocent. Anything can be done. You can, so many times the children get loved. The children are abused because they are innocent. They do not know the complications of the adult world. And that is why they are just sort of available for good things and bad also, innocent. And finally, the children are the ones who can trust in the people. They trust their elders. They trust their parents. At certain age, they never can believe that the parents can tell lies, that the adults can lies, because they believe in everything, they trust in everything. So perhaps these are the qualities that are needed for us also, what we call, first of all, the simplicity of the children, the guileless attitude of the children, the innocence of the children, and also the trust in God. We speak of the children because 14th of November every year in India we keep up as the Children's Day in memory of Jawaharlal Nehru, our first Prime Minister, whom we call Chacha, the grandfather as such, affectionately. And he was so fond of children, so therefore that day is kept up as Children's Day. And we have beautiful things to recall and to perhaps to give also. The children are the hands by which we take hold of heaven. Beautiful saying. Children are the hands by which we take hold of heaven. That's what Henry Ward tells us. And children are our most utmost adorable resource. You can learn many, many things from children. I gave the 4 qualities that perhaps were very much the children would be able to give to us. And the most important thing is the children are loved by God. Let the little children come to me, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Let the little children come to me. Do not hinder them, do not stop them, for to them belongs the kingdom of God. Luke chapter 18 verse 16. So my dear friends, let us keep up the Children's Day and make the children happy, and at the same time let us forget ourselves also that we have become adults. It's so nice to go back to our childhood days, the childhood memories, the childhood things that we did. And they say the child in us can never be vanquished. Sometime it comes out in a spontaneous smile, a joke, a free for all attitude. That is what we need today. And let us ask for a grace that we also be little children in God's world. I now speak to you about a saint that we sort of recall on 15th of November. His name is St. Albert the Great. He died in the year 15th of November 1280. It is almost 8 centuries ago. But still this man is called Albert, St. Albert the Great. The Great because he was a very wise man. He was the one who could combine beautifully philosophy and theology. And that is why the many proofs of God's existence, he could say, not only through experience, not only the biblical quotations, but also philosophical arguments. In fact, he was an inspiration, and he was St. Thomas Aquinas was his student. And Thomas Aquinas is considered one of the greatest philosophers of the world. And you can imagine he learned from St. Albert the Great the philosophical principles as such. He was declared as a doctor of the Church in 1931 by Pope Pius XI. Pope Pius realized that we had a treasure in him, St. Albert the Great, and therefore he declared him the doctor of the Church. And therefore he is also called the patron saint of the scientists. The scientists are great people, and to have a patron saint of the scientist to be decorated in the person of St. Albert the Great is something great itself. And so his one small philosophical dictum was, in everything you do, look to the end. In everything that you do, look to the end, what we call the finality. When you know the end, perhaps the beginnings are easy, the beginnings are containable, and also you will be careful. But a person who has got no idea of the end, perhaps it's like a horse that gallops and nothing happens in the world. So therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, let us ask this saint a grace for each one of us to recognize God in our life, at the same time to accept the scientific truths behind which God stands. I now come to a point that I have been repeating quite often, what we call formation of the parish pastoral councils and parish finance committees. Month of November, month of December, perhaps a little of January, but then we should be having new parish pastoral councils and new parish finance committees. We have sort of revised the statutes of the parish councils and also the parish finance committees, and I have sent a copy of each of these to our priests so that they can read and explain to the people, perhaps in short words, as to what means the parish council, what's the need of the parish council, what are the objectives of the parish council, who can be the members of the parish council, perhaps who are eligible to be the members of the parish council, and how long, how much period, what is the time perhaps we were to be in the parish council can be existence. We say 3 years. So for 1st of January we expect new parish councils to start functioning, and therefore the parish priests would do well to start the preparation in the month of November and December with the election. The list that is sort of chosen by the parish priest had to be sent to us so that we will also ratify it to see that there are equal portions of the members. For example, 25% are what's called ex officio members, 50% are the elected members, and 25% once again are the nominated members nominated by the parish priest. And as I said, besides the Parish Pastoral Council, there is also the Parish Finance Committee that also needs to be formed, and the Parish Finance Committee bothers much about the finance, the inventory, the things of the church, the properties, the budgets, etc. So that is also will be formed, and I expect all the priests to cooperate, all the people to cooperate with the parish priest in order forming the parish councils. And normally the Parish Pastoral Council is formed from among the people, and so they may be curious. They can even buy what we call the statutes of the Parish Council that are available in the diocese. Also in some parishes we will be sending copies so that you can read, be satisfied, but be accurate in forming the new Parish Pastoral Councils and new Parish Finance Committees. I now come to what we call the jewel of the church, the jewel of the Archdiocese. And this time I go a little far away. You have heard of Marathalli and you have heard of Munekola. I speak about the Munekola Church of St. Anthony's, which I think is one of the biggest churches and therefore one of the what we call jewel that we can see and admire. A little history about this church. St. Anthony's Church Munekola in Marathalli, which was inaugurated on 2nd of October 2016 on the feast of our patron of our, or rather the national leader, the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi, 2nd October 2016, and it's one of the biggest churches built by the Archdiocese of Bangalore in recent times, both in terms of space and capacity. The church was earlier a subsidiary of St. Anne's Church, which is in HAL colony, and due to the expanding Catholic population in, around and Munekola and surrounding areas, mainly due to the employment opportunities created by the IT and BT sectors, which are the influx of the migrant Catholic population, the church was built in this area. The property of the church, very interesting, because I mentioned some names because these are the people who have been responsible to bring to the fore this jewel of the Archdiocese. So property was bought by Father K.C. Abraham in 1958 or 59, and originally the land was 4 acres. In 1960-61, the Southern Railways came up with a railway track and we lost some land. Until 1989, the place was just a vacant land when one of the laymen, late Mr. A.A. Nathan, got a vision of St. Anthony and was inspired to build the church in St. Anthony's name. The then parish priest, late Father Salima, agreed to build a small chapel dedicated to St. Anthony in 1994. Once again in the late 90s, the widening of the Southern Railway lane took up more of our land, and Father Zachariah Mattam, who was that time the rector of the Redemptorist College, the what we call Redemptorist Mater College, and he was in charge of the church also, so they took a lot of interest to restore the remaining land and built a wall to protect the rest of the land to his best. The succeeding parish priest maintained the status quo, and meanwhile a lot of devotees and people started flocking St. Anthony's Chapel. As the crowd increased steadily, the demand for service in the church also increased from mere Tuesday, as was earlier, to Saturday and also Sunday services. With the initiative of a few members, the Mass on Sunday became a regular event. Unable to manage the increasing crowd, and need to cater to the growing Catholic population in the area, the proposal to build a new church was in the air. It was then that the Archbishop of Bangalore, the Right Reverend Bernard Morris, took a keen interest to build a new church and school to cater to the spiritual and growth of the people. The parish is blessed with a mixed community of people and a magnificent, prominent place of worship. All the members of this parish work together to be a ray of hope and strive to build the communities of steps rooted in the church. Father Anthony Mahendran was the parish priest of this church for 5 years. He was earlier secretary to the Archbishop, and the Archbishop appointed him as the first parish priest of the new St. Anthony's Church, Munikula. At present, Father MacDonald is the parish priest, and in his own way, he is striving through dedication for the welfare of the church and the faithful. Father MacDonald also has got some problems because some of our land again had to be surrendered and a bypass is made there. Besides, there are some people threatening this side, that side. The railway line is to be extended, and so in spite of all these challenges, Father MacDonald very smilingly has taken the people into confidence, and also he keeps us informed as to what is happening. I wish all the best to the parishioners, to the parish clergy of St. Anthony's Church, Munikula. May God bless you. Be proud that you are one of our jewels of the Archdiocese.
The Shepherd's Voice, which is being presented by our beloved Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, the Archbishop of Bangalore, who takes so much of interest and concern in order to bring the various topics, the contextual aspects, in order to inform, educate, and catechize all of us, the priests, the religious, and faithful of this vast archdiocese. And I'm sure you are enjoying this program, Shepherd's Voice, and I request each one of you to share with your other colleagues, friends, and family and relatives, near and dear ones, so that everyone in this archdiocese can be more closer to listen to the Archbishop on this Shepherd's Voice, the weekly feature. My dear friends, as I've always told, that this is a wonderful platform wherein we can connect to the shepherd of this archdiocese, wherein he brings in the interesting topics in order to increase our devotion and love towards God, and also to know the spiritual matters that concerns our faith. In a very special way, you are most welcome to ask your questions, queries, and you can send them to us at archdblr@gmail.com, and you will also see our mobile number in and through which you can connect with our media center, Ave Studios, and the Archdiocesan Communication Center. Please do write to us your feedback, your opinions. Thank you. Continue to watch and continue to share with others.